বন্ধুরা সবাইকে সালাম জানিয়ে শুরু করছি আজকের এই বিশেষ অনুষ্ঠান। আজকের এখানে আমার সঙ্গে আপনারা দেখছেন বসে আছেন সিঙ্গাপুরের টমাসেক পলিটেকনিক থেকে এসেছেন মিস্টার বেঞ্জামিন কাসিম। অ্যান্ড উনি এই চতুর্থ শিল্প বিপ্লব নিয়ে আসলে কাজ করছেন। চতুর্থ শিল্প বিপ্লব নিয়ে তরুণদের সাথে কাজ করছেন, বিজনেস অর্গানাইজেশনগুলোর সাথে কাজ করছেন, এবং কিভাবে করে এই ইন্ডাস্ট্রি 4.0 বা 4IR বা চতুর্থ শিল্প বিপ্লবের বেনিফিট, অপরচুনিটিস, চ্যালেঞ্জেসগুলোকে ম্যানেজ করা যায়, চ্যালেঞ্জেসগুলো থেকে ওভারকাম করা যায়, অপরচুনিটিসগুলোকে কাজে লাগানো যায়, সে বিষয়ে ডিরেক্টলি হ্যান্ডস অন কাজ করছেন মিস্টার বেঞ্জামিন কাসিম। সো আমি আজকে ওনার সাথে কিছুক্ষণ কথা বলবো, কেন আমি মনে করি এই ডিসকাশন থেকে আপনারা অ্যাটলিস্ট জানতে পারবেন হাউ টু interact with the future skills or future work in terms of Industry 4.0. Welcome, Mr. Benjamin.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Thank you. And of course, on behalf of Bangladesh, I would like to welcome you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it was really a great opportunity to meet you in Singapore.
Yes.
I've learned so many things from you. And since we are working with the youth, with the business organization,
Right.
so what I am thinking, like whatever skills or learning I received from you, I'm thinking that if you could tell us something so that my friends, well-wishers of youth can understand
Sure.
about it, because there is some sort of buzzword is creating like industry 4.0
Right.
will reduce the employment, some people will jobless. So can you please give us a little bit about industry 4.0?
Sure. Industry 4.0 is part of the whole industrial revolution. Now, when we come into 4.0, we're looking at a variety of different technologies,
Okay.
Artificial intelligence, very, very high-powered computing. We're talking about cloud, data being stored on the cloud. We're also talking about Internet of Things, where you have a variety of devices all connected, so that through one push of a button of an application, you have control over a variety of devices.
Right.
And these devices talk to each other. So in that spirit of Industry 4.0, there has been a lot of discussion on how it impacts how businesses operate. And the majority of that has been around process and automating of processes, process engineering, manufacturing, product development, research and technology. Then on the other flip side of it, in terms of industries like the tourism and hospitality industry, we're talking about services. As opposed to how you build better machines or smarter machines, we're talking about services. So how does that play? Industry 4.0 has a complementary counterpart in services, and we call it Services 4.0. Now, with Services 4.0, we're looking at applications, we're looking at how technology helps companies, helps individuals to work smarter and to deliver better customer service, to deliver more proactive customer service, more informed customer service, more personalization services which connect them with the people, which previously it was very hard because
Right.
they had no access to data, they had no access to intelligent analysis.
A lot of hard work needed
Yes,
for
yes, that's right. So that's the fundamental premise of Industry 4.0 and Services 4.0. I just want to say that it's here to stay. It's not going to go away. In fact, it's only going to get more intense. The applications are going to be much broader. They're going to seep into every corner and every segment of a business.
Right. So people are talking about, like, since you talked about smart worker,
Yes.
and you also talked about service 4.0,
Yes.
and in the other way, people are saying like job will be removed, people will be jobless. So how do you react on this?
All right. Okay, I think the best way to look at it is if I take an example from the tourism or hospitality sector, if we look at a typical front office staff in a hotel, okay, that job is not going to be removed,
Okay.
for sure. But the job will evolve and will change
Alright.
in terms of what a front office staff has been doing before Services 4.0. A lot of that is very transactional. You have a guest coming in and they check the guest in, take the details, issue the keys, and that's about it, and then pass the guest on to the concierge to bring up to the room, right? But now with Services 4.0, actually guests can check in by themselves. So what does the front desk play? They play a much stronger connection. They have more time to connect
With the customer.
with the customer. So it's about building a relationship, which previously they couldn't because they spend more time just transacting the whole check-in process.
Right.
But now that process has been removed from them, or at least most of it.
The machine or technology will
And
take most of the part.
Take the processing part away. So it leaves them a lot more time to engage with the guests, to build a relationship, to develop what we call the loyalty, the customer loyalty, which will result in repeat business, and therefore create opportunities for more revenue for the property.
As you said, like building loyal customer.
Yes.
People can give more focus or
Yes.
more time,
Okay.
for those loyalty
exactly,
development
exactly.
rather than doing some
Correct.
operational work.
But the key is this: how does that happen?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not automatic. It's not that the work is gone
They have
away.
to- somewhere they have to build.
No, they still have to depend on the technology. So the technology gives them the information, tells them more background about this customer, because the hotel's technology has been tracking this customer.
Mhm.
If this is a repeat visitor, a repeat guest, they would have known the last time the guest came in, when did the guest come in, which room did he stay in, were there certain requests that he made, which
Who
of the
don't-
restaurants
who-
did he patronize, did he use the gym, so there are all of this information now. Therefore it means the front office staff now has to be a lot more intelligent to look at this and say, okay, how can I take this information and how can I use it to create a deeper relationship and interaction with the guests?
So technology will help
Enhances,
Yeah.
yes, it does. But it means, if you look at it, therefore the role of the front office has actually shifted. What was previously a very transactional piece of work that they do day in, day out,
Regularly, right?
yeah, regularly, and especially when you have a large group coming in to check in, then
So waiting time.
they're just trying to process, right? They're not even having any consideration to engage.
True.
Now, because there is technology, they need to know how to leverage and use the technology. Need to be very familiar with that. Then take that and then intelligently say, okay, do some analysis and say, okay, how does this help me to engage better? To
So
build that
it's
relationship?
like in previous days or years, like we were connected with the people to people, right?
Yes.
So now, based on your discussions, like can we call is like technology is connected with the human, and human can tuning its operations, which could-
Okay. The way I look at it is, it's like a circle. Okay.
Okay.
So you start off with the human. Okay. Let's start off with the human.
Yeah.
Okay. The human initially has interaction with another human.
Right.
Now, in that interaction process, they're capturing certain information. Now, how is this information captured and how is it stored? Okay. So that's one. Okay. So that's where technology helps. So now
Storing those
the storing
informations,
and capturing the information.
Right, very
So
important.
now what happens is that there are some tools. A hotel, I'll stick with the hotel example. A hotel could have an application on the mobile phone, so that if you want to check in, you can use that and all that. Now that process helps capture a lot of data, and it gives the hotel a better understanding of the customer. But from all these touch points, right? So that job is taken away. Previously, it was a conversation you have, to find out, where are you from, and is this your first time? And, yeah.
So that part will take.
So now that information. But does it mean that the conversation
will stop now.
No, actually now the conversation takes
Will-
a much higher level.
Yes.
It's a much higher level, because now you already
All the
know.
basic informations
Yes.
are
Yeah, and you're now making the guest feel a lot more special, because when he's having a conversation with the staff already knows him, and if you know, if I'm the staff and you're the guest, and I said, oh, you know, welcome back, straight away you feel welcome, because I know that you came before. You said,
and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I'll be happy. And then better still, if I have the conversation, oh, the last time you were here, you dined at our Japanese restaurant. What was the food? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Okay. Or even better, I make a recommendation to you, because I know you like Japanese food. I said, well, you know, we have a new chef and he's got a new menu. You might want to try. Would you like me to? Would you like me to make a reservation for you? So you see, suddenly that conversation.
Jobs are there,
Yeah.
but the level of discussion,
it's okay.
it's changing,
So
right?
so it doesn't mean that the jobs are going to be lost. In fact, what it means is that from a learning and from a capability development point of view, you have to now employ higher thinking, higher order skill sets, as opposed to previously you just learn how to use the Opera transaction system to make the booking and all that. But now it's beyond that. It's beyond that, because that process has been taken out from your role.
And what about the business owners? Can they maintain the growth, or it will be increased exponentially due to Industry 4.0?
So now
Because
yes.
most of the business
Yes.
owners, they
Yes.
think to implement 4IR, it may be
Yes.
very much expensive, or investment.
Obviously,
So-
okay. So there are costs involved. Of course, from a business owner standpoint of view, you always have to do the cost benefit analysis, right? So if I'm operating a production line or a process line, right? I automate it. Okay. Does it mean that if now I'm employing 100 staff on my shop floor, does it mean that there is a reduction in the number of staff? Yes, it could mean that. So there would be some possibility of losses in some of the jobs. But when I say loss, it doesn't mean that you lose the person. It means that you now have opportunity to redeploy these people
To any other- other-
areas to add value to the organization as a whole. And those who are still on the shop floor, their roles now become more of inspection, quality control, as opposed to operating the
lower level
lower
job.
levels, because that's already been taken care of
By machine,
Yeah,
right?
so even better is because they now have a greater focus and intensity on quality control. The output, the products, the whatever the company is producing now, that quality is much higher, because the machines have made it consistent. Plus you have the skills of the individuals who understand, who know what the product is, and they can.
So definitely it's a
implement that.
blessings for the business.
Yes.
But what do you think, for the youth, or for the individual?
Yes.
Do you think that now it's time to enhance skills, or taking more time, giving more time on skills development?
Yes. You.
But what are those skills?
Okay.
Do you like another question? Probably three questions.
Sure.
One question is how individual will enhance their productivity or skills development. Number two is, do you mean to say that everyone needs to learn machine language or artificial intelligence?
Okay.
What's
No,
your opinion?
it's not. You don't look at it that way. It also depends on which sector you're involved.
Right.
So let's stay with the hospitality and
Right.
tourism sector. Now, for most of us, we're still a service industry. So we're very much people oriented. What does it mean? What does it mean in a technologically enhanced environment? What does it mean for a young person? Well, some of the skill sets would be things like understanding data, which previously you don't even it's not even a subject. It's not
Right.
even a subject. You now have to understand
Data analysis.
Yeah, data analysis. Now you may not be the deep data analyst, but you have to understand how to use data. And that's a skill that needs to be learned. Not everybody it's not intuitive.
It's not a
and
technical
yeah,
part.
It's not.
But the basic,
Yes.
the
yes.
basic of data
Yeah.
analysis.
So if you have a range of data on a guest who is in front of you, how do you make use of it to build that relationship, to enhance the connection, you to pull in the guests, to create a brand loyalty amongst the guests, right? So those are things that you will need to learn. Whereas previously, that kind of data may not be available to you so easily. Now it's there at your fingertips, right? I'll give you another example. Another skill to learn is to use technology. How to be comfortable using technology. Something very easy as a concierge, for example. Okay, in a hotel, you have a concierge. A lot of times, the role of a concierge is to help their customers and to provide a lot of information. A lot of times, it's that. So now, information is actually available
On the net.
and you just pull up your smartphone and you can pull up. Okay. So the question is, how do you find the information? What information? How do you narrow your search criteria? Now these are things that you learn. Okay, and these are some of the skills that you pick up. Okay, so it's a matter of you cannot ignore technology. You have to be savvy in terms of understanding how applications work. You may not be the creator of the app, but you have to be familiar with using these things. So it becomes second nature to you. Obviously, dealing with data,
Right.
That's a key thing, because now you have a whole range of data that's available to you, and available to you is not necessarily a good thing because it overloads. So you must know exactly what I need to look out for, and how do I pull it out.
So technology knowledge is important.
Yes.
You don't need to be a machine learning expert,
No,
but you have to understand how machine learn.
Yes.
Similarly, artificial intelligence,
Correct.
blockchain, or
Right.
big data. Now, since we are always, very much curious about Singapore development,
Okay,
and
okay.
Especially youth development
Yes,
in Singapore,
yes, okay.
how do you develop your youth in Singapore?
All right. We are fortunate enough in Singapore to have a very proactive government. So even in our education system, we are continuously looking at curriculum, looking at course material, looking at how we deliver teaching, and looking at who we collaborate with.
Okay.
So that we are always trying to be as up to date as possible. If this is happening in the industry,
You
then
include
we
in the
want to
syllabus.
make sure that it's
It is
part
in
of
the syllabus.
it's part of what we do. And we do a lot of collaborative work with
Collaborative work
industry,
means?
with industry
Okay.
partners. So even when our students are working or learning, in the course of learning, they're doing projects that are subject related, we pull in an industry partner. So it becomes a very strong link. Right?
Okay.
So from that point of view, it opens them up to what's going on in this industry, keeps them a bit more familiar. So much so that they're not afraid. They don't step into, when they finish studying and they go out to work. It's not you're not jumping into cold water, because you already have a fairly good understanding of what's going on. Now, the second thing is, of course, we leverage on technology. Okay, in the way in which we deliver teaching methodology and pedagogy, we leverage on technology, and because we do that, it makes the students a lot more comfortable.
And you were talking about like কি আছি আমরা ঠিকমতো?
হ্যাঁ।
আচ্ছা। You were talking about like nowadays students are using social media or smartphone in the classroom.
Yes.
How do you involve them with, like, do you scold them or
No. Okay. So
or do you tell them don't use that
all right.
smartphone?
No. So what we do is we leverage on that, because they're so used to communicating and using smartphones and using the technology available. So we leverage on that. So even in our collaborative learning, we get them to do collaborative learning using technology tools.
Okay.
Rather than, okay, let's sit down and have a group. They can sit down and have a group discussion, but how they are recording and collecting this information goes onto a collaborative learning platform, so that this small group, whatever they discuss, can also benefit the other groups in the same class.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. I think secondly also, I just want to come back to the point of how we are leveraging on technology, or how we're making our students better prepared. We understand that because of technology, helping to remove a lot of the process type activity, process type work, the repetitive work that is done, that's taken over by technology. So we are helping our students in terms of preparing them in the areas of critical thinking,
Okay.
in the areas of innovation, creativity, in the areas of having a global mindset.
Okay.
So if you look at it, right, these are skills. These are areas where these are necessary skills. for
And
them
I'm
to
sure you are
succeed.
not giving them definition, but
No,
they
no,
practice.
no, no. It's practice. It's practice. It's very much practice. So in that sense, what happens is when they go out, they already have that higher order. The foundations for higher order thinking and higher order work activity is already been built into them, which helps because when you immerse them in a service area where there's a lot of technology, they're familiar, it's easy for them to learn, but not just to learn the technology, they still know how to then use it to create an advantage for their employers
Oh.
and to build those relationships. Right?
But you are talking about collaborative activities, right?
Yes.
You are connected with the industry.
Yes.
Do you have any kind of hub or any forum where the academy and industry work together, talk together?
Okay.
Do you have such?
Yeah, there are different areas in which we do this. Number one, as I mentioned earlier, we continually look at our course material. We continually look at our course content. Now, in all those review processes, we have a panel of industry partners that we communicate with, and we
Okay.
take input from, so that when we come up with something, we share it with them, so that we get input to make sure that we are meeting requirements that they are looking for in new hires. Okay, so that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is, of course, because whenever we run a subject, we always tie it up with an industry partner. So that's an ongoing discussion that takes place frequently. And the third thing that we do is we also ink partnerships with industry, different companies in the industry, so that it creates an opportunity for exchange. So it could be mentorships for some of our students.
So industry become mentor.
Yeah, they mentor some of our students
Okay.
even while they're studying.
Okay.
It creates, of course, our students go through internship. It also creates opportunities for them to join in and participate with some of the industry activities.
Oh.
So there are all these opportunities that we work together with, and it allows us to take input from industry. The industry also has a better understanding of our students, their capabilities, where their strengths lie. So it's not a one way street.
Two-way.
In that sense. It's a two-way street, because the idea of helping
You give something, they give.
yeah, and when industry better understands our students, so when they take them on, once they hire them, once they finish, they also know exactly what are the areas of strength,
Okay.
and how they can then help build up this person.
Oh.
It's not like I said, it's not a one-way street, or it's not just I train and you hire. No, it's not that. It's a work.
If I ask you a very another short question,
Yeah.
like in this collaboration,
Yeah.
academy and industry,
Sure.
in this kind, what role that government play?
Okay, the government has a number of roles. If you look at companies, okay, let's put aside the education part. If you look at companies, our government is very supportive of helping companies who want to employ technology.
Okay.
So they have certain funding and subsidy schemes and help schemes that they inject. A lot of it has to do with helping in the capital investment.
Okay.
So that's one aspect taken care of. Now, at the same time, the government also is extremely active in looking at skills, future skills.
Okay.
So that they have an agency that solely focuses on future skills.
Okay.
And future skills means two areas. It's not just for young students who are being prepared for employment, but it's also for people who are already employed. And how do you enhance their capabilities,
Okay.
right? So in that whole process, when they look at it, they look at it by sector. So each sector, each of the sectors, for example, in the tourism sector, they've come up with what they call a transformation map. So that charts the path. And in that process, right, all of us are involved. The educational institutions are involved. The industry partners, the companies are involved, and then some of the various government agencies that support.
Okay.
It could be funding, it could be through funding, it could be through consultative processes, it could be through matchmaking. These are all involved.
Government are very playing vital role.
Yes, yes, that's right.
Great. So we have learned so many things from you, Mr. Benjamin, and definitely our audience, definitely they are getting some knowledge
Yes.
from. Last question, like from the last 1 or 2 days you are in Bangladesh,
Yes.
and most of our young generation are watching us.
Yes.
Do you have any message for them? Especially in terms of preparing or readiness for
Okay.
Industry 4.0.
I just want to say this. You know, Industry 4.0, Services 4.0, it's inevitable. Okay, today we live in a global world. So even if you say, well, but I'm in Bangladesh, it doesn't matter. Your customers and the people you interact with are not here. They're in different parts of the world. And if they are savvy and they are using technology, then in order for you to successfully engage them, you also have to be equally savvy and use the same technology. So I
Very
think
powerful.
from the next thing is, I would say learning never stops. Learning is a continuous thing. So even if you went to school here and you only taught, you know, ABC, then you still have to take that responsibility to say, okay, what about D, what about E, what about F? I need to know that, because that's part and parcel, and you never stop learning. So even when you're working, you go to work, if you keep on learning, it means you're creating better opportunities for yourself to excel, and therefore you get promoted and do better and rise up the whole chain of work and management chain. But if you just are happy to stay in your own job
Comfort
and
zone.
you don't want to step out of it, then you know the expectation is, and then that's where you'll be for the rest of your life. So, and please remember, for the rest of your life may not work, because when technology comes in, that basic processing work that you do may be taken over by a machine. So if you have not been learning, then what happens? So I would say, you know, technology, you have to be familiar, you have to keep up to date, but also keep on learning. You know, you will never fail if you keep on learning.
Great. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Mr.
my
Benjamin.
pleasure, my
And,
pleasure.
thank you for sharing your thoughts and idea on Industry 4.0. Thank you so much. বন্ধুরা, আপনারা শুনেন এতক্ষণ চতুর্থ শিল্প বিপ্লবের প্রস্তুতি, চতুর্থ শিল্প বিপ্লব নিয়ে সিঙ্গাপুরের ভাবনা এবং তাদের কার্যক্রম আমরা বোঝার চেষ্টা করলাম, জানার চেষ্টা করলাম। আমি মনে করি যে আপনারা সবাই যতটুকুই সময় আমরা পেয়েছি ওনার কাছ থেকে যা জানার, সেটা আমরা কাজে লাগাবো এবং আমরা রিসার্চ করব, যেটি মিস্টার বেঞ্জামিন বলার চেষ্টা করেছেন, নেভার স্টপ লার্নিং। সো এই নেভার স্টপ লার্নিং মেসেজটা দিয়েই আমাদের আজকের অনুষ্ঠান আমরা শেষ করছি। ভালো থাকুন আপনারা সবাই, যে যেখানে আছেন।
বন্ধ করো